Hey everybody. Oh my gosh, we are back. Season 2 is finally here. I am so excited to be actually recording.
Yes.
We have put this off for months and months and months.
Some time off, but our bodies were telling us we needed it.
Our bodies and our brains were telling us we needed it.
We took a good break.
Yeah, we did. Like, I think our last episode came out in around August. Right. So it's been some time. And I even think that there was a bit of a break between the last episode and the one prior to that. So we are back. Thank you everybody for sticking around during this break. We both really needed it, and we'll get into that in a little bit. This season's going to be interesting. It's going to be a little bit different than the last season. The last season was mostly Ashley and I, which was cool. Loved it. Loved every episode. They were so much fun. But in this season, we're going to talk more to other people who are in that health and wellness space. It's not necessarily going to be a cancer thing.
Overall health.
Overall health. We're going to look at it holistically because, as you know from all of our other episodes, you heal the entire body. You don't just heal what's going on. You don't just deal with the symptoms. You deal with the root cause. So that's going to be really cool. We have a lot of amazing guests. Like next week for our episode 2, we are going to chat with a guy who is the COO of beatcancer.org. It is this beautiful organization offering all kinds of counseling and resources in the holistic space to people with cancer. So like,
it's amazing. I wish we had that when we were.
I wish I knew about it. And we're going to start working more directly with this guy too, which is not just him, like with his organization. So very, very excited about that. We also have some other guests coming on, like I have such a huge list. I have some physiotherapists. I have people with eating disorders or healed from eating disorders. A yoga trauma teacher or trauma yoga. I don't know which way to say that, but someone who helps people through yoga. Yeah, I have doctors. I have nurse practitioners. I have so many different ones lined up for us. I can't wait. I honestly cannot wait. And just people who do counseling in general. Like we have, I think, 2 guests that are going to be on who deal a lot with women specifically going through a transitional period, whether that's divorce or birth or empty nest or retirement or whatever, just dealing with that, because you know what? Everyone is facing something.
We all have something going on in our lives.
Yeah, we do. So we are going to bring you that. And I can't wait. Like, I'm so excited.
It's exciting.
So we were saying, like, mentally, physically, like our bodies were just not having it. We were drained.
We had a lot of it, and we still weren't healthy at that point. Not that, we're still a work in progress, but there was things that hit us.
Yeah. Why don't you talk about what you've been going through? This has been pretty wild.
This has been... That cancer was hard. This one took me right. I fought. The biggest thing I can say is advocate, which we always do in our first season. But this one was hard for me. It took me for a loop because I was being told that, they couldn't find anything. And at the end of the day, everything has a root cause. There's a root cause for something. And I knew that, and I wholeheartely believe that. So I have advocated for myself for almost probably a year. A year, I think. I was told that exhausting all these tests on you. It's like, no, you're faking. Yeah. You're just doing your job until you find it. I had some doctors tell me to stop pushing on my stomach. So what happens, if you've been following, my stomach does swell up. I look like I'm 9 months pregnant, and I just shut down. It's like when you have a flu, your body aches, everything, everything, and you can't move and you're in pain. It felt like my stomach was going to explode. And I lived in that in October and November of last year, that was my hardest months. I was swollen for 55 days. And then they did an endoscopy. Right?
Yeah, endoscopy. Did I say it right? Yeah, endoscopy. Yeah.
And didn't find anything. Kept not finding.
Is that through your throat?
Yeah, that was the throat one because I had already had 2 colonoscopies, and they kept coming up short. And I was like, no, you have to. And then finally, they sent me for this breath test. It was 4 hours at the U of A hospital. Couldn't eat, and then they give you this like a syrupy, kind of like the drink that they give moms for the diabetes test,
the glucose.
Yeah, and within, it's crazy because within drinking that, you just watched my stomach grow into this balloon. Yeah.
Jeez.
So that test was to look if there's bad bacteria in your small intestine. And sure enough, it came back that I have SIBO, and that's small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. And you can get it from so many different things. People think it's a COVID shot. The doctors haven't really told me what I got it from, but it started happening after my third surgery. And I'm assuming because I've been cut open, so much air, all these antibiotics I had to take throughout all the surgeries, it just killed my gut
Well,
flora.
it creates major dysbiosis in the gut, which is immune health, mental health, all the things. Right? All the health is in your gut.
Yeah. And then I lost, from my second invasive surgery, I lost the first junction of my colon. So that, because most of the bad bacteria is supposed to sit in your colon area, but because of that, it migrates into my small intestine, is what I've been told. So living in that has been hell. It's probably one of the harder ones because it's so hard to get rid of. I've gone on, I'll be doing also little videos on what protocols have worked for me, that it's finally working. I went on some antibiotics. Didn't work. Nothing. I've had
if anything, probably just continued.
It didn't. I truly believe it actually made it worse.
Of course.
And then I had to change my whole diet, a low FODMAP diet. And that in itself is hard. You have to cut out everything.
You don't realize how often you eat garlic and onions and nightshades.
And that is my favorite. My sister, she made this guacamole. My stomach was kind of stable at the time and I hadn't had any. And I just didn't think, right, that there was garlic and onions. As soon as I put it in my mouth and I swallowed and it hit my stomach, it was just like a balloon again. It was like swelling up. It was so big. So I have hydrogen and methane SIBO. Like these are these gases that are created in my tummy because the food that comes in, the bad bacteria feed off of it, and then the food rots in your intestines. So it's like, because the methane side of it, I can't go to the bathroom. I can't have bowel movements. I won't keep talking about it. There's just so much, but that's what I have been dealing with. I'm starting, it's only been a few weeks where my stomach just clicked and the all natural protocol that I'm on right now is working. And I don't want to say too much because it's only been a couple of weeks, but
you don't want to jinx it.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Everything I've read about with SIBO also says like you're going to have moments where it's almost like a relapse. So it's not always going to just like be flat. Like if it's working now, there are going to be moments where it stops, and sometimes you have to like stall it out, take a break on the protocol.
I've done that.
Give it the bacteria or the bad things that will activate it just so that they start working again,
And there's biofilm that wrap themselves around, like it's like a film that goes around the yeast as well, and the bad bacteria, and then it's the hardest thing to get rid of. I'm in a couple of Facebook groups, and these poor people, oh my god, they have been dealing. The one, she's like, I'm losing my mind. She's like, I don't want to eat anymore. And I got to that point. Literally. I had to do intermittent fasting and only eat once a day because I couldn't put anything else in my mouth. Even water was starting to.
Well, you figure there's literally no room for anything if it's just impacted in your guts.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
Brutal. I mean, when it finally clicked that one day, remember we were talking about it and I was like, do you have SIBO? Like, do you think you have SIBO? Do you? And we started researching it and it was like, okay.
And but then it's like, oh my god. And then once you understand it, it's hard. Like it's easy to get discouraged on this journey.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember like we were talking about, and it's just I had to stop the protocol. I got remember that I was in bed for 8 days. I was so sick from the die-off symptoms, and then my body I was just done. My body had no life left in it.
Were you taking any binders?
Oh yeah, the charcoal.
Oh,
so I was doing a coconut one.
Activated charcoal. Yeah.
Yeah, and then but there's so many different things out there.
Yeah,
like some people say take it, some people don't.
Well, of course.
Right?
Because you can find anything on the internet.
Don't take a probiotic. And it's been...
Well, it's kind of like with cancer too. It's like, which is the right path to take? And sometimes you only have kind of one choice or one chance.
You really do have to do what's best for your body. Because like my protocol, it's different. It's different than what I've been researching and seeing from the groups and stuff.
Right.
But the one thing that actually I noticed towards the last few weeks before it clicked, like before my body started working, was moringa leaf. I added just that one in, and it was like my body, I don't know, just loved it.
Good.
And it was just like, it was such a breath of fresh air. So that was the one I added in. And then I started adding in a bunch of other ones.
I should try that. I have that here.
Yeah, that
I got it during the cancer, like the beginning parts, but I was like, it tastes disgusting, so I'm not going to drink it.
Well, I had it just sitting. I have all these supplements.
All the things, yes. Right? I remember your bag.
I had cut it out for a bit, but now I'm back up.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it's just working. So I don't want to get too excited.
Yeah.
Because I've been, and my mental state was like this.
It is, again, because gut health is mental health. When you have gut dysregulation, dysbiosis,
I thought I was going crazy.
It's gonna, because when the doctors don't take you seriously, they can't find anything. You feel sick, and also you just battled stage 4 cancer. Like, how do you not have mental issues?
Right. And then you're unstable because you're like, is it the cancer? Am I dying? Is it?
Well,
and it's that cycle.
Not to mention the stress of, am I going to get cancer again? Is this cancer again? Putting pressure on your body. Wild.
It has been wild. And I feel bad because I know that it's affected, friendships, relationships, stuff like that. And it's like, but I couldn't control it. When you're living, you're living in that fight or flight. It's like, I just got to protect me right now, and I fought pretty hard for that one to just get out of that state. But there was times where I physically couldn't even get out of bed. I couldn't. I've tried. And then I'd feel guilty. I guilt trip myself, be like, you're staying in bed. And it's like, well, you got to go
what else
easy
are you supposed to do?
Well, exactly. I couldn't even make myself food. It's crazy what that one did to me with the other.
And the fact that you went like almost a year, or if not a year, without anybody knowing what it was. Because
that's the hardest part.
Yeah. Because this started after your September 2023 surgery.
Yes.
And then so you found out, later than September of the last year.
It was what,
November? October, November?
I started getting symptoms, so I think it was end of October. Early November is when.
So 14 months. You had to experience this thinking, am I dying? Am I going crazy? How do I live like this? I thought I was going crazy.
Yeah. I was like, great, this is my life forever. And it's sad because there are people in those groups. This one lady, 15 years. This guy is like, I can't do it. Like that.
Yeah. Exhausting.
It is, because you have to watch everything. I thought cancer was bad. This is like, it's bad in a similar, like it's, how do I explain that? It's just as bad, but different, right?
Yeah.
This one's hard. This one's mentally hard too.
Yeah. I think with like cancer, I mean, there's an end goal, and that's to like have no cancer in your body. But like, how do you eradicate bacteria in your body when you need bacteria in your body? But like, what is good bacteria? What is bad bacteria? How do you eradicate the bad? That's exhausting. So actually, one of the guests that we are interviewing in a couple weeks, she is a gut health specialist. She knows about SIBO. And so as soon as I chatted with her, and I was like, this lady needs to come on, because like, just even for your, even if it just helps you, like, let's talk about it. But like, I'm sure that there is actually quite a few people out there who, have never even heard of SIBO. SIBO.
Actually, sorry to interrupt.
That's okay.
IBS patients look into SIBO, because I have been doing research, and they'll tell you they can't do anything for IBS. And it's like, well, that's because you have SIBO. It's actually an unbalance of bacteria. But I never heard of SIBO. The doctors I talk to, or every time I go into the hospital, the last time I went in, it was so bad. I had to take an ambulance. Like, I thought I was going to die. Like, it was, because my scar down the middle has actually stretched because I've been so big for so long, like the swelling. And I was like, well, I was just diagnosed with SIBO, and I had done a few enemas. I still couldn't go to the bathroom. It was horrid. And then she was like, well, what's SIBO? I'm like, oh, okay. It's like, don't they all do the same courses? And I understand, like, it is what it is, but it's discouraging.
Yeah, of course it is. When your trusted doctor has no idea what you're talking about.
And maybe their emergency doctors train differently.
They are. I mean, obviously they're meant to deal with like heart attacks and broken bones and drug overdoses and
not
things
a woman
like
looking
that.
pregnant. They actually said, the one doctor suggested and over my, I won't say it, but they wanted to put a tube just hanging out.
So let the air out to release
with
it.
a flap. And I was like, you want me to walk around like that, like for the rest of my life? And they're like, well, that will release the air. I'm like, but isn't bad bacteria going to get into me? Like, I just have an open hole in my stomach. I was like, I can't do that. And I was like, no, there's a root cause.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was one of my options.
So do you know what was swelling? Was it your stomach or was it your colon or your small intestines?
Like, which small intestines were filling up with the gas, the methane and hydrogen.
So I'm just picturing, like, you know, you have your large intestine that's like this, and you've got your small intestines in the middle. I'm just picturing them like balloon animal.
Oh, and then I'm assuming it was outside also, because it's all gases. It's going through everything, right?
And then you figure, like, the pressure it's putting on your large intestine or your colon, your poop holder, pushing that all out of the way, pushing all your organs out of the way, so nothing's gonna like move properly.
And how could I have healed properly from my first 3 surgeries?
Oh boy.
It's been a ride. But
I'm so happy you are finally finding some smidge of relief, even if it's just like a fraction.
And it really does help. Even the last 2 weeks, I don't have the thought that I'm gonna die or I'm dying or what is it. There's, you know, there's a little bit of relief there, and you can actually breathe in your mind.
Right.
I see things differently.
And like, even mentally, you're a lot different. Like,
you'll be able to tell from last season to this season. I'm
near
assuming.
To the end of last season, I think like you were starting to just
I was
get
so
more tired and just like really checked out. I mean, I think we both were, but like definitely.
I would nap on your couch.
Yeah, literally.
SIBO's hard, and it takes the life out of you. And all I can say is don't give up. Like, your body will work. You just got to make sure you give it
the right
tools, and it will. Like, I didn't think mine would ever click, and here I am, happy.
Amazing.
You know, and like, to be able to have your body functioning properly, and like being able to have a bowel movement. My first bowel movement on my own, I praised it. It was the best day of my life because I hadn't gone for over a year by myself. I'd have to always use suppositories or enemas.
Awful.
Yeah. Laxatives, but those actually didn't work on my body.
You know what's interesting? Like, so when Ashley first found out she had SIBO, I was thinking like to my kind of symptoms. Mine are like on a much smaller scale, but like for years I would eat something and I would swell instantly. And I'd be like, okay, maybe like on a much smaller scale. I wouldn't look 9 months pregnant by any means, but like certainly I would hurt. I couldn't get any air out. Like I wish sometimes I like had that flap. Couldn't go to the bathroom, like nothing like that. So when you and I went to the health food store and bought some products for, you know, part of, you know, one of the protocols we were looking into was a high dose oil of oregano because it's antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antiparasitic, like all the things. And then berberine for blood sugar regulation, and like a biome balancer in the gut.
Because we started at the same time.
That's right.
She did it with.
I'm not consistent with anything I do, but I did the oregano and the berberine only. And on a smaller scale, I wasn't taking nearly as many as you were. And I will say those first 2 weeks were rough.
Yeah, I remember
because it was like rougher. It was like diarrhea central, like burning, like my poor your booty hole was like burnt. All my butt cheeks were burnt from like everything coming out of me. It was awful. So I eventually stopped that because obviously I didn't want to live like that. But since then, and this is TMI, you know what? Since then, taking it for just like that short. I think I took it maybe a month total. It's completely regulated to the point where I can go to the bathroom on my own.
Isn't that amazing?
I'm not constipated. Oh my god! Yay!
That's the biggest, crazy. Yeah, that's the biggest thing is that when you're constipated, where is it going? It's just sitting there. So what's happening? It's reabsorbing into your body and making everything off and crazy. And
yeah, I saw some major toxic bowels under my microscope yesterday on a child. So we'll get into live blood analysis and things like that. My new venture, you know, down the road. But yeah, I saw some seriously toxic bowels yesterday. They were black. And scary. I thought, you little man, you are not absorbing and you are not breaking down and you are not using properly and you're not getting rid of.
That's like my baby. He's having a hard time digesting.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's low iron.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Like you really do not realize like how
No.
important your gut health is. And so if you ever talk to a doctor about gut health, if you say the word leaky gut, no, that's not a thing. Is it? Is it not a thing? It's pretty sure. Like I can literally see it on a blood sample, but what do I know? I'm nobody. Sorry, this wig is driving me crazy. Oh, okay, there we go. And at some point, an alarm's gonna go off, and Ashley's got to take pills. So if that happens,
I have them right here. They're ready.
I see you holding them. I think it's probably time here.
It's close. I'm like,
yeah, probably.
I got 34 seconds.
Okay, well, you could probably just turn your alarm off and just take your pills.
Don't make fun of me. I hate swallowing pills.
You just
joke on camera, probably.
This is why I've switched.
We're also not editing, apparently.
No, we're not editing. This is gonna be organic. We love organic things. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
I had such protocol fatigue from taking pills. I still do.
Right.
So I've switched a lot of mine to powders because then I have to put in water and then I have to drink water.
Mm-hmm.
This is my first water today, by the way.
What?
And I'm this much into it.
Oh.
But
I'm proud of you for drinking
so
water
much.
when I'm also sick.
You got me this cup. So but yeah, like major protocol fatigue where I just don't want to take it.
It's exhausting.
It is exhausting. Take it at this hour. Take it with this food. Don't take it with this food. You have to fast for it. Take it with this other pill. It's freaking exhausting.
This is what I'm just showing them. This is what I live by.
Those are all pill times?
Yeah, but this is not.
Lord.
That's my protocol that I'm on right now. But I still have some that I take without an alarm.
I know, like I am really trying to take magnesium at night, especially because I still coffee enema all the time. I'm usually pretty low in magnesium. Heart palpitations are often caused by low magnesium, so have to take it at night. But I learned recently you can't take it with anything else, like because I take a few things at nighttime. You can't. You have to take them separate from each other.
And we have to talk about you and what's been going on.
Okay, well, where do I start? Okay, so like physically, I'm always very sore, very sore. I actually hurt my back a couple days ago. I bent over to grab my toothbrush from the cupboard, and it popped. And I've been literally hopping around since then. Today is what day? Wednesday. 4 days. I'm in just so much pain. In a couple of weeks, I am having a CT scan and a bone scan just to make sure that there's no metastases anywhere. We want to make sure that the cancer is not back and is not in my bones because these pains continue to happen. Now, it isn't regular. I'm not always like in agony, but I am pretty sore pretty often in my back. Hips and spine are a very common place for breast cancer to move to in your bones. We're just ruling it out. So, we're praying for good results on that one. So I've been very sore, still very tired. And someone asked me, a girlfriend of mine, we went out for lunch one day, and she said to me as soon as she was like, "Oh, how are you feeling? What's up?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm really tired and sore, and I kind of just hang out at home a lot." And she says to me, "Are you depressed?" And I was like, "No, depressed is for losers." And then I was like, "Okay, maybe. Am I depressed? Maybe."
But also, I think your body still needs to heal. My body still needs to heal.
Right.
And for us being tired, we went through hell.
Yes.
And like, yes, depression. Yeah, I get it. But I think us as who we are, I don't know if you do it, but I come down on myself if I can't do anything. You know what I mean? But then we also have to allow ourselves.
You lazy.
Right?
Like you've been off work for 2 years. You didn't think to go to the gym at all that time. You didn't think to eat properly.
But depression is there. I have to say I'm depressed too.
I think like depression is a spectrum. I don't think it's just you are or you aren't. I think like
it comes in waves.
A lot of stuff is it comes in waves. It's circumstantial. One thing I'm finding that makes me think like maybe it is that I just don't have the desire to do anything. I've lost a lot of like joy in things. And anyone who knows me outside of just this podcast or even just watching this podcast knows that I'm like a pretty joyful person all the time. I'm always laughing. I'm always making jokes. And that is like a genuine thing. I'm not masking. That's like genuinely who I am. But I just found like I don't take joy in anything lately. And then I was like, why is that? Like when Christmas, when you were young, it was like the most exciting time ever. And then like this year, like Christmas came and went. And I'm like, okay, cool gift. Thanks for the people
But
that
we have so much other things on our mind that.
Well, I know, but I am starting to think that it is depression.
Mhm.
And so now I've been like keeping myself a heck of a lot busier just with like.
Are you like listening podcasts and stuff like for more mental health and stuff?
Sometimes I've just started to make myself busy, like as I prepare for like a back to work type thing, whatever that looks like. I'm just keeping myself more busy so I don't feel like just a blob on my couch. And that's part of what it is. Like, part of this post chemo, post treatment world is like weight gain, and it sucks. And it's like 30 pounds that I cannot lose, and it's a nightmare. And like I had to go to the menopause clinic. I had to get tested because we were thinking I'm in menopause just based on body pain and dryness. And like I think the last episode we did, I went through all the symptoms in preparation for the menopause clinic. They did a physical exam. They can literally see that it's different than it once was. And so she's like, yeah, you probably, but then I went and got my hormones checked, and no, I'm not in menopause. I think chemo does do a number on your body to the point where like, if you have a period, it stops for X amount of time, and it does take time to pick it up again. Now, I haven't had a period in 4 years because of surgery that I had. So I actually have no idea if I'm cycling or not. But according to this blood test, I am still, which is great. So I have to stop blaming, weight gain on menopause. Like it's probably just from laying on my couch for 2 years. So, part of that feeling of depression is body image, right?
I gained 30 pounds with SIBO.
I know, you lost it. Look at you. Look at this skinny little arms.
Not yet. I'm not anywhere where I need.
Well, I didn't know you before, so I don't know. I did look
I did lose, I think, once my body, I was able to go to the bathroom.
You literally lost air. It wasn't weight, it was air.
I lost about almost 20 pounds.
I wish I could lose 20 air pounds.
It was more than air.
I know.
Because my body wasn't actually absorbing protein, and it was fat. What was happening? Remember all that stuff?
And you're an O blood type. You need that protein.
Yeah, and my body.
You need the meats. Guess what's happening if you're not breaking down the meats that you're eating? It's sitting there. It's being gross. So yeah, I've been trying to stay a little more busy. I feel like a little more self-worth in this time. Not that I don't think I was worthy. I never thought that, but I often have bouts of what's the word? Survivor's guilt.
Oh, that's still, yeah. I know I am.
So a lady that I know through my ex-husband just died last week, breast cancer. Her and I had been chatting while I was sick, and she was on her 4th or 5th round of chemo. I'm not talking like the 6 that they do. That's one round. She was on her 4th or 5th round.
Like
she'd been dealing with this for a long time. And she was very much against my holistic practices. She was not, she told me I needed to pick a side, basically, not do both. But I think integrative is kind of the way to go.
I think so too. I think both.
Both, for sure. Get your body strong enough to handle this crap. Yeah, I don't think chemo is great. I think it's the worst thing in the world. But like,
if I didn't have the surgeries, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
I believe in.
So yeah, but she passed away last week because the cancer just got too bad, and that was hard. Like I had survivor's guilt again. A girl I met in Mexico. She passed away in the summer. Survivor's guilt. That one girl from our town that the three of us had connected.
It does sit there when you think about it,
Yeah, another lady I met in Mexico too.
So nice. You're doing good. It's like I fight.
Yeah, right.
Not that they didn't fight, but
well, then I start to think it like hangs over me. Like, why me? What did I do any differently? Because the girl from our town and the girl from Mexico
differently
were holistic as well. Why is it that the difference? I think with those 3 women who died of breast cancer, it was after it came back, and that's terrifying. That hangs over me, man.
It is, because those 2 for sure did, right? The one here and then the one in Mexico. That's But if you change your thinking to, your like, now you have tools. Now everything that we're learning, for it to come back, it's not going to come back
for sure.
But it hangs in your head.
I'm a very emotional eater as well. So for me, you would think it'd be like, okay, this is motivation. Let it kick you in the butt. For me, it's just like, I'm stressed out. What am I going to eat? And I actually don't eat a lot or like really crazy, but I think my body's just holding on to like a lot of, I don't know, trauma, maybe PTSD. So
Fight or
I've definitely been, my counselor has definitely said that I have PTSD. No surprise. Again, I don't have the joy in things anymore. I'm finding like that I'm more of an introvert than I once was, which is crazy because I'm an extrovert, like through and through.
Same.
I love meeting new people and I get recharged in groups, not by myself, but I'm finding myself like canceling plans and things like that because I just don't want to socialize. Like even just like the thought of going back to work for the first week, people are like, "Oh my God, you're alive."
Maybe
like,
your body is just telling you need a break.
But then I'm like, well, I just had a break.
I think you're overthinking it. I think
as I do.
I know, but I think, you know,
I know.
You just allow it. I did the same thing. I spent 55 days almost in bed because I was in so much pain from the swelling and the gas.
And you know, the difference between you and I is like, I don't ever rest. Ever. No. Never. You think I go to bed early? Absolutely not. Like me laying on the couch watching shows is not restful to me. I find it actually very unrestful. And then it's like I go to bed at like 1 or 2 in the morning when I should be in bed sleeping and resting and letting my body heal. And I think this is probably, my adrenals are probably like overworked.
And I was like you prior to getting sick, and now I'm accepting.
I know. I'm like, 9:30, the adrenals witching hour, time to go to bed.
6:30,
and then my husband's like, my husband's like, let's watch a show. And I was like, okay, fine. So then I stay up, and then it's like midnight. I'm like, why am I doing this? You know that your adrenals need this. But anyway, I recently had looked at my live blood analysis, the dried blood showed, well, both actually, live and dried, showed that my guts are like blown apart still. Real dysbiosis. I actually had to go on antibiotics a couple weeks ago. I'm so angry that I did it, but I had the sinus infection that would not go away. And if anyone remembers last year, I know. If anyone remembers last year when I had the sinus infection that turned into pink eye and my eye was like, well, it was this eye, but that was from a sinus infection that had gone unchecked. Yeah. And I was like, it started to be sore and I was like, And so I was flushing it nonstop with like that saline rinse and stuff. And I was like doing all the natural things. And then my body could just not fight it. And probably because I was in such a negative headspace. And so I finally succumbed and I went on the antibiotics, and obviously it worked because it started to get better. I am actually still stuffed up 2 weeks later, but like not nearly what it was. And it like blew my guts apart to the extent that I love spicy food. I always eat it. I always have. I will be in the middle of eating something spicy, and within like 2 minutes of eating it, my guts are like just hurt.
Maybe it's a little bit of SIBO as well.
Well, maybe. And I also think that antibiotics just destroyed them.
Well,
so now I'm on a protocol trying to heal my guts again, trying to work on that because I figure. And I actually talked to like a personal trainer, and I was going to work with her. And she's like, well, we need to heal your gut before we even think about losing weight. And I was like, you know what? You're right. So I'm finally like on a protocol where I am healing it. I am slowly cutting out the dairy and the grains again because I was a no blood type. My body hates those things. And then I'm working on that. And I know that like once I am balanced in good biosis here,
that's literally what happened to me.
Yes, everything will start to work. But yeah, it's been hard. I started getting panic attacks. I don't know if we talked about this in our last episode. It was like out of nowhere, like crazy heart palpitations. Like I thought I needed to call. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. I thought I needed to call an ambulance. Like one day I was out and about and I was like, my heart rate on my watch said like 170, and I was like, that's not right. Like, am I alive still? Yeah. So this was happening more and more often, and I wasn't sure why. They said that my magnesium was low, but I don't know. I started getting panic attacks, and I convinced myself that my husband was having an affair, and I was like,
well, because your mind is not
freaking out.
Your mind's not stable.
Literally not.
It's not. My mind has not been stable because I have been so toxic.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. So needless to say, Ashley and I took a fairly extended break from the podcasting world, but it was a good transition time to go from season 1 to season 2. Her and I are back in very positive headspaces, feeling very hopeful for the future. Really love the direction that this podcast is going. Have some pretty amazing guests. We are working on sponsorship and things like that. Oh, one other fun fact is, so I do a morning show anyway, on Rhode Island Broadcasting. It's called Going On Daily. Rhode Island Broadcasting is, as the name suggests, out of Rhode Island. And it's a fellow who basically hosts different podcasts. Now they have about 4 or 5 shows on the go right now. They are picking up Two Girls Without Cancer as one of their shows. Oh, I can't wait. So you can check us out there on the Rhode Island Broadcasting, whatever, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, all the things. And so they're going to be picking us up. And so hopefully they've actually had 3 shows from there already been picked up for syndication. So pretty exciting. So very, very excited about that. They really like our show over there. They think we have, you know, like a lot to talk about, even if sometimes it's nonsense or like,
or we just keep talking about the same stuff.
Ranting. Yeah, I'm going to forever talk about the same stuff. No, this season's going to be different. We're not going to talk about all the same stuff. It is going to be, I don't know, just completely different. It's going to be Ash and I chatting with each other like this in my little office space, but now we have a background. Now we've got this cute little layout here. We've got hold on this way. We've got a logo. We've got all the things. So yeah, it's cute. I love it. Shout out to my sister-in-law. Why can't I do it this way? Shout out to my sister-in-law, Steph, for making this gorgeous logo. Do you want to hold on right there? You can see. Wow. And still very awkward as always. So that won't change.
We're still us. We just want to bring it just a little more. It's just a little different,
a little more personal.
And like learning.
Well, you know, not everyone can relate to the cancer world because it is fairly niche in that, you know, not everyone has had cancer. So yeah, we want to make it more accessible to everybody. So yeah, we're very excited. We're still going to release every Tuesday morning. I don't know what time, maybe 8, maybe 9. We'll see. We'll try to have it be consistent. But yeah, that is our big plan for Two Girls Without Cancer. Please join us on all of our things. If you can see down, I'm backwards here. Here, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Rumble. I've set up a Twitch. Don't know how it works yet. I'm going to make it work. And of course, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We have to get more consistent with posting. We don't.
This season, we're going to start posting more and more content, not just as our podcast.
Yeah, but exactly. Anything that's like, you know, relates to health. We're going to talk about it and we're going to post it. So we honestly can't wait for this journey to continue for us in, you know, very positive ways and very successful ways. I want to say, like, I am very hopeful for the future, and I haven't been in a few months.
Exactly.
So
me too.
It's nice to like
this is our
get my head in a good space. This is our outlet. That's for sure. It feels good. It feels organic.
It does. It always is.
Yes. Anyways, thanks for being here, and check us out next Tuesday when we have Zachariah Frank here from beatcancer.org. And yeah, we can't wait to see you then.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.